It's just really therapeutic to be painting, and everybody can express themselves in different medium, whether it's watercolor or clay, but just the more you expose yourself to art, you just never know what's possible and you never know what you can create. But it's just like, it's like therapy, and you get into this zone when you're painting and you're just letting the art kind of come through you, and I think that everybody should experience that. And we're in this world where there's so much digital technology. Actually creating something with your hands, I think, is so kind of beautiful and meaningful. I didn't do like a lot of arts and crafts as a kid, but I know I took grade 9 art class, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, that's what I wanted to do. So I did mostly acrylic and drawing and colored pencil, and then I went to art school. I think I was always kind of sure that I was going to university. I think in high school I got really good grades, so it was always kind of like a given that I knew I wanted to go to university. I knew I wanted to do something. And then after taking that grade 9 art class, all I wanted to do was art. So going to University of Guelph was neat. It was close to home. I grew up in Palmerston, so it wasn't like a huge step, and it was right at the University of Guelph. So I loved taking art there, and I think it was maybe kind of a big risk because I did well in sciences, and there's some days where I'd like, what would my life look like if I actually took science or something, or went to vet school or something like that. But yeah, I did take the leap and do art, and I haven't looked really back since. There was definitely like this huge period where I wasn't doing any art. I went into the kind of the corporate world, worked the 9 to 5, and I didn't create any art. I didn't do it as a hobby or anything. And then after I had my son, by 2016, I started to pick up watercolors, and I just kind of fell in love with watercolors, and I found myself painting every day and creating these pieces. Then all of a sudden people were like, oh, and they kind of were interested in my art for the first time, and it wasn't just people saying, oh, that's nice. I was actually starting to sell little pieces, and I sold my Corduroy Road piece. I did a sketch of the Corduroy Road when it was unearthed in Kitchener, and I sold that as cards, and they sold really well, and that was the first time where I thought, wow, I could really do this. And then eventually that piece was bought by the City of Waterloo Museum, so that was kind of my big break. Knowing that I sold so many postcards of it, and I sold through Wordsworth Books and several places uptown, actually seeing my work in like real stores, like brick and mortar stores, and seeing my work in a gallery is like, wow, that's like this moment of like, I've really made it. And from teaching too, I find that when a student emails me afterwards to class and said that they've learned so much, or when I'm seeing them exhibit their work, I'm really proud of those moments. Like you kind of see like, oh, little babies, and look at what they can make, and it's really exciting. Or they tag me on Instagram later on, and I think that's the best feeling. And I think half the time I get home from the Homer Watson class, and I'm looking on Instagram, and I'll be tagged by one of my students saying, look what we did in class today, and they're really proud and excited of their work. And I feel like that makes me feel really good that I've helped them learn something new, and like I've inspired them creatively. The legacy of actually painting in the place where Homer Watson himself actually painted is a huge deal. And I don't know, it's really nice. The teachers are all great. Scott was the one that kind of, I think, introduced me to the area, and he's wonderful, and it was really great kind of meeting everybody and working with everybody. It's really freeing that I get to plan my own classes, and I get to be creative here, and they've all been so supportive. So I love it here, and it's been really great.